Uh, I am resident of Collinwood for YouTube Jewel Saints, joined by my buddy Mark GIllman at I_Barnabas, joined by my buddy Daniel Culver at Killenberg. Guys, we're here to discuss everyone's favorite Mass Factory, the Silver Shamrock Company. That means we're here to discuss Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. So here's the question. When did you guys first see Halloween 3, Season of the Witch? Daniel?
I think it was late 2011 because I think I've explained this before, but yeah, I saw these movies, late on. Like I didn't see them until I was 19. Well, I knew about their existence. I saw a little bit of one of them, but I didn't really become a fan until I was 19.
Right. Mark, for the senior citizen of the two of all of us, when did you see Season of the Witch? But
Nah, I, I saw it for the first time in Halloween 2014. I'd seen all of the Halloween sequels except that one. I'd had a lot of people tell me to avoid it, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to start watching stuff on my own. And I watched it, and I really, really liked it. And as a few days went on, I kept thinking and thinking about it, and I watched it again. And it's probably, besides Halloween 2, the one that I watch the most often.
yeah, it's really interesting because when I saw this movie as a kid, I saw the Halloweens in order. I saw Halloween 1, 2, and 3,
Mm-hmm.
and it's weird because when my mom showed me Halloween 3,
Mm-hmm.
my mom was never a fan of this movie. So she's telling me this. She goes, I don't really like this movie. So I watched it. I said, so what's your issue with it? She goes, they target kids. I said, well, I said, so what about Halloween 4? She goes, I don't like that one. I said, what about Halloween 5? She's like, I don't like that one. I said, what about Halloween 6? She goes, later on, she goes, I don't like that one. I'm like, so wait a second. Every Halloween, the target that where someone's going after a kid, you don't like. She's like, that's right. I said, okay, I just want to be clear. I was like, what about Halloween 1? She's like, he's not going after the kids. He's going after Laurie Strode. She can defend for herself. I'm like, damn. So I always found that interesting because I got her point because she was a parent, but it's like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? I was like, okay, but I love this movie, Mom. She goes, great. I'm glad you like it. She goes, I don't. But so it's interesting how a non fan of this movie showed me it. That's I think that goes to show you that hey, somebody doesn't have to be a fan of something for them to show it to you,
Mm-hmm.
which I love. I think, guys, what did you guys think of Dan O'Healy's performance as Connell Cochran? Daniel,
Well, I think he did a good job.
Mark,
Um, the word that comes to my mind is chilling.
yeah,
He was very chilling, and I thought he was perfect. I don't think that there's anyone else that could have done it the way he did.
yeah, it. Want to hear something interesting? His son plays the villain in Death Wish 3. Yeah,
Oh,
the guy with the like the
he's,
paint on his head,
mhm.
who's yeah, yeah he plays the main villain in Death Wish 3. His son does,
Wow.
but which is again an interesting movie, but it's it's like so the O'Healys know how to play heels.
Mm.
I think you know if somebody would have told me you're going to see a villain as evil as Michael, if not more, I'd be like, nah, you're crazy. And then you
Yeah.
watch this, and it's like, yeah, that guy, that guy's evil. So this is the first Halloween that introduces the concept of witchcraft, which was never used, until this movie. What did you guys think of that?
I thought it was a pretty interesting concept, and I like how they used Samhain, as part of the plot.
Yeah. What did you think, Mark?
I thought it was really cool because I mean, with witchcraft, I mean, you can go any certain way. There's no real rules or anything that's going to tie you, that's going to tie you down to something. So I thought they really shot for the moon in this one, and it worked for me. I thought it was great, and it was really bold. I mean, technology was really taking off, and I think combining those two was just was just perfect.
Yeah, it's really interesting because yes, he's a witch, but he's also a businessman.
Yeah.
So you sort of see the best of both worlds in this movie, where here's this guy who's making these toys, these masks, and he's selling them for a profit. All the while, that profit is to build his evil empire and destroy humanity. And this is something straight out of like Marvel Comics or James Bond. I mean, but the Halloween franchise, this to me was ahead of its time. I mean, really,
I agree completely.
it just how smart they were with this, because you always hear about like
Hmm.
corporations being evil.
Oh
Guess
yeah.
what? Guess what? This corporation really was,
Yeah.
and so that's the one thing I found interesting. It's like it makes you think of all those conglomerates. You go out and you go to the store and you see something. Oh, I'll buy this because it has this brand represents it. But you never think of the underlying meaning. And then you watch this movie. It's like, yeah, yeah,
Mhm. And like these big corporates, um, entities, whatever, they always target kids because kids are going to say, and I know this, hey dad, hey mom, I want this, I want this, I want this. Everybody else at school's getting this. That's who they target. So this called it out perfectly.
my daughter and Gabby's dollhouse. I know this all too well. Uh, it's like it's like my son and the word mocha frappe. I know this all too well. It's
Yeah.
like Jesus, but that's the thing too. Like just like parents, like you want to make your kids what happy, so you
Right.
pacify them, and you sort of see that in this movie too. It's like you see kids buying up masks either for themselves or their parents getting it. This movie really hits home on all those levels,
Mhm.
and you have. I don't think Tom Atkins has ever been in a bad movie, and they it stars Tom Atkins, and he's not this hero in many ways. I mean, look, John Carpenter has made anti-heroes. You go back to Napoleon in the original Assault on Precinct 13. You go the Snake Plissken, and I would dare say if you watch that, Napoleon is the to me the groundwork for Snake Plissken.
Mhm.
But with this, you know, he creates a different kind of anti-hero. Here's this doctor who isn't isn't necessarily going there to just solve a crime. He's going there to get laid. I
Yeah.
mean, it's
Yeah. But yeah.
you know, like, here's this beautiful drop dead brunette who's like, yeah, okay, I'll go somewhere with you. But what did you guys think of this?
Although the part where he wanted to get with a brunette,
Oh yeah, yeah.
um, I'd say it makes total sense because he's like you said, he's not really a hero. Like he's divorced, and we know he has a drinking problem, so
Yeah.
it makes sense that he would do that sort of thing too.
Here's one for you, Mark. How much of a Quentin Collins move is this by the Doctor?
Oh, total Quentin Collins. Yeah. Total Quentin Collins move. I never made connected those dots, but yeah, that's great. Um, but I love this, and I think it's so funny how he's always, you know, he's always got a drink, and he's like, he's like, wait a minute, it's 6 o'clock, I could use a drink. And you see him, like, I think it's so funny when he's calling his ex-wife, and he's supposed to be, doing something with his kids, and he's telling her a lie and saying he's going to some medical conference, and he hangs up the payphone while she's telling him off, and you just see him grab a six-pack and just go running towards the car. And it's just it's hilarious. I mean, it's great. He's a it shows he's a very flawed character, um, and he owns those flaws and just runs with them.
He does. He does. I think that's what makes Tom Atkins' character all the more likable. He doesn't lie about who he is.
Yeah,
He's very upfront about who he is.
yeah,
So it makes him, in a sense, you appreciate. I'll say this: his character doesn't lie to the audience. He may lie to other people, but it doesn't. He doesn't lie to the audience. He doesn't try to deceive the audience of who he is,
right.
which
And it's
is
hilarious when the brunette meets him for the first time. When Ellie meets him, she walks into the bar, and she said, "Yeah, some of the nurses said I could find you here." So it's just like he had a reputation. They knew where to find him at.
well, how. Here's a fun question. How many nurses do you think Doctor Daniel Chalice got with?
I'd say at least 20.
I love that number. I love that number.
Huh?
That's that's the best answer I've heard. 20, just flat out, Daniel. I love it, dude. And here's the thing, too. You're probably right because he flirted with all these nurses. I
Oh,
mean, and like Mark was saying, they knew where to find him. It's like they've been to that bar with him. They've been there, and it's like Jesus. Like I was watching this today, I'm like, man, these nurses, you could tell they've been with this dude.
yeah, on the daily.
Right? Like Jesus Christ. But the one thing I love about this movie too is it doesn't lie about what it is.
Mhm.
They're very upfront. Hey, this is not a Michael Myers movie, and they show Michael Myers as a fictional character.
Mhm.
It's something I've talked about with my buddy Butch Rosenbaum too. That this is why I appreciate it. It's like, hey, here's Michael Myers. He's a fictional character. He's not a part of this story. Great. This is what I mean by completely different. It's Halloween 3 season, which is separating itself from those two movies right off the bat, and that's so great story. It's one of the most underrated storytelling parts about the movie, really.
Yes.
How it's telling it, hey, we're separate from this. We're our own thing, and we're not afraid to show it, which is great. So, what did you guys think of that this movie was not afraid to sort of show, hey, we're separate from those first two movies.
I actually liked it.
Mark?
Yeah, I agree with Daniel. I I appreciated it. I mean, I think what they were going to do, what they set out to do, with an anthology was a really cool idea, always centered around the theme of Halloween. And I would say, as much as I love the other ones, I think this one gives me more of a trick or treat atmosphere feel than the rest of them do. And I love the setup of this movie. Just everything was great.
It really was. When we get to the town of, you know, I love how we have so many cool little Easter eggs in this movie. Dick Warlock plays one of the henchmen. But the one that I noticed about this movie too, and I want to get you guys' thoughts too, is when we first see the Ellie's dad running and he's being chased. Were you guys expecting a car explosion to start this movie?
Oh, I wasn't actually.
No, me neither. That was a total surprise because I thought the guy was human, and I was like, what in the world? Why did he do? And that was a gruesome, nasty kill, by the way, when they caught up to him um, in the hospital. But yeah, when the guy, poured the gasoline on himself, lit himself on fire, and the car explosion, yeah, that was pretty sinister.
Does this top Corey stab to the neck or no?
For me, no, but it was still a big surprise.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'd say
it's.
no for me too.
I'll say this, that when he goes in and when the guy goes in and murders her dad, and comes out, and they're Dr. Daniel Chalice going out and chasing him and seeing this. You're right. It doesn't top it, but it's still. If you notice with Halloween 2 and Halloween 3, there's one common theme. There's action in these horror movies. There's a
Yeah,
bit of action. And I think that's where really John Carpenter was starting a trend, really. I know John Carpenter doesn't direct this movie, but his fingerprints are all over it, really.
yeah.
That here Halloween 2 was action horror to a degree. You had two explosions. With this, you have an explosion, you have this you have this holy shit, the mask are killing people, and it's still scary as shit. But what did you I have a question for you guys. Butch Rosenbaum gave me a very interesting theory, and I want to pick you guys' brains with this. So when the kid and his parents are in the room and the mask is like, Butch gave a very interesting theory. He said that it's releasing a gas and they're hallucinating the bugs and the snakes. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
Well, that's a good theory, but I feel that the bugs really were coming out.
Yeah.
Um, I I agree with Daniel. I think that is a good theory. I mean, that's possible. It could be. Um, I guess because of what happened with Marge in the hotel room where
Yeah.
she was trying to pick open the chip, and we got to see the bugs coming out. We got kind of a little sample, a little tease of what was to come, and when you see his head turning into a rotting pumpkin,
Yeah.
um, and then the snakes and all these things coming out, that was that was pretty insane. I think that it really happened. That it was stuff that people are afraid of. Snakes, these big bugs, and anything you can imagine coming out.
Yeah. I'm with you guys. It's so creepy how this gets done too. Even like before that, with the whole how the one employee's checking out the pen, like you're saying, that little sample is creepy too, because you
Yeah,
hear, it's like, what was that? And then the woman's dead, and it's like, here's Connell Cochran. Oh, she'll be okay. Like,
yeah,
what? What do you mean she'll be okay?
yeah. Doing everything to downplay it, and he says it was just a she was a it was an accident. It was just a little accidental misfire. So yeah, we're taking her to the hospital, and it was he was doing everything to downplay it. So yeah, it was something.
I'll use a wrestling term. She'll kick out. Um, oh my god. So here's the question for you guys. How do you guys think they got the Stonehenge from where it was at to the factory?
I never really thought about that, but maybe it's possible Kyle Cochran used witchcraft to
Yeah.
teleport it, but maybe he used his robots to like lift it.
Yeah.
Um, for me, I have no idea. Um, but in a way, I'm fine with that. because the only explanation he gave, he said, we had a time getting it here. You wouldn't believe it. So I'm fine with that answer.
He did say that too. It makes me it makes me think that they sort of did use the robots because look how strong they are. I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
and he had a lot of them. I mean, there were like a lot of them, and maybe he had more than he initially had, and some of them actually got crushed initially by the stone.
yeah.
So, I mean, the thing's heavy. Again, it's really cool that they use something like this and get into a mythology standpoint of it, which is cool. What did you guys think of? uh, I know, well, Constable Jonas Carter, Rafferty. What did you think, Mark?
I thought it was great. I mean, and it's easy. I mean, you can make a big Dark Shadows fan fiction on this. Like this is where he left, why he left Collinsport, and he was on the trail of some mask makers and Connell Cochran, that he had a suspicion that he was going to do something to commit mass murder. So yeah, I mean, you can connect those dots in a lot of different ways.
What's you guys' favorite scene in this movie?
Favorite scene? I would actually say, when Buddy Jr.'s face is melting. For those that don't know, that's the kid.
Yeah,
Because it pretty much shows like what's to come, like what Colin Cochran wants to do.
yeah. Mark, what's your favorite scene?
Um, I'm going to say that it's probably when Dr. Chalice is tied up in the chair
Yeah,
and he's having a showdown with Cochran. And you're kind of expecting, this James Bond moment where the villain is going to reveal his plot. And Dr. Chalice says, "Why, Cochran? Why?" And he says 5 words that, in my mind, it's brilliant. And he says, and he's even laughing when he says it. He says, "Do I need a reason?" And that to me sets such a tone for this movie, that he is just absolute evil. And I think he's one of the most underrated villains in horror, that he is about to kill millions and millions of children. He knows that he's targeting children. And I mean, when he tells the creepy story, Dan O'Hurley's face, changes and it gets very grave and serious. But when he says, and he just laughs and says, "Do I need a reason?" He's just doing this for fun. There's nothing for him to gain by doing this. He's just doing it for fun.
it makes it. Do you think you're what you just said led me to a question. Do you think he's more of a mischievous warlock?
I think so. And it's just like, he says, like, I mean, he's made his whole career and gained his fame by making joke products.
Yeah.
And um he said, and this is the best joke ever, the joke on the children. So it's, yeah, I think so.
What do you think, Daniel?
Yeah, I'd say that pretty much describes him. And like Mark said, he already sold stuff that for like causing mischief.
Yeah, he's
That's how he earned everyone's trust.
yeah, like he he was the king of practical jokers. I think one of his employees.
Yep.
It's like I'll say this too, that he sort of he's a touch of Nicholas Blair a bit. He does have this mischievous side to him, and to hear this guy who's I don't think he's doing this for world gain, really.
No.
I don't think he's doing this to take over the world. To him, like you said, this is all fun and games. This
Yep.
this is imagine having it's sort of like having the Infinity Gauntlet. Imagine if you could in the stones. Imagine if you could just snap your finger anytime you wanted to. And I guarantee you that would be Colin Cochran. He would just, oh, this is fun. Oh, this is fun. And really, that's him in this movie too. Like you're saying, he's just, it's fun to him. This is all the one big game or a joke. It, he gets off on this sort of thing. Us people, it's just like, dude, you're crazy. Like, I mean, I dare say this is more evil than what Michael did in the first two movies. I mean,
Oh yeah.
he, I think Dana Healy's Connell Cochran is the only character to me that tops Michael Myers.
Hmm.
What do you guys think?
I'm not really sure because that's a good point. I still have a weird feeling that. Well, Oh, sorry. I still feel that Michael Myers is more evil, but I feel Colin Cochran's plan was more evil than what Michael Myers usually does.
Yeah. Well, here's a question: does Michael really have a plan? You know what I mean? A plan. I mean, stalking and killing is. I'll say this: he's very. They're both very methodical in what they're doing, and I would say Michael's a little more methodical because he's trying not to get caught.
Right.
Well, that's
Con-
true.
Connell, Connell, it's like I don't give a shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like there's like a I don't give a shit like sort of like okay, he's confident, like he's confident even in death, like he just he dies, like he goes into the headstone, but it's just like like when you hear Dr. Daniel Childs, stop it. I mean, does he get the last TV off? Who knows?
Yeah.
And that's one of the most scariest things. It's like we don't know.
Right.
You
Yeah,
know,
that's true.
it's who. What did you guys think of? Oh gosh, Dr. Daniel Chalice's and Ellie's chemistry.
Um, I thought they had good chemistry.
Yeah. What did you think, Mark?
It was weird. It just seemed very, very strange. They were an odd couple. Um, but I mean, I think as actors and stuff, they had good chemistry. But I think that the whole time he had a whole other plan, and you know, um, yeah, he was just kind of going along with her and agreeing with everything she said. And the only reason he was helping her was to get into bed with her. And um, but I thought, uh, there at the end when Daniel Chalice knew that something was up, I think he kind of came around a little bit and was like, "Yeah, I'm not leaving without Ellie."
Yeah. Listen. You guys are missing this. My favorite scene is the sex scene. Okay, I try to get my wife to watch this scene as much as possible. The- and here's the thing too with this. There's a point you're making, which I agree with. He when he starts going around the factory, and he's sort of getting this eerie feeling about all of it, and so like you said, he does once he realizes what's going on. I mean, he could just leave without her. Like he could get out of there, but he doesn't.
Yeah.
And I think that's really, really interesting. I love one of my honestly to be my favorite scene for real is the fight scene with him and Dick Warlock. I think that was so well choreographed.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, Dick Warlock really did a great job, and so did they both did just an amazing job. Tom Atkins and Dick Warlock just for as short as it is, it's because it's not terribly long. Really, just an amazing scene, and it's in the dark too. It's scary a bit. It's in the dark. It's not so dark you can't see though, And that's the beautiful thing. We always hear, like you and I, Mark, we're hearing complaints about the Godzilla movies, how dark it we were. This is not the case. I mean, you can clearly see this fight scene take place, which is cool. I'm sort of shocked we don't get like a fight sequence with Daniel Chalice and Connell Cochran. I think that's my most shocked thing every time I watch this movie.
Hmm.
What's
Yeah.
something that shocks you guys about this movie?
That's actually a good question. Oh yeah, I guess the fact they killed a kid, I know they were gonna kill kids, but they actually went there,
Yeah.
What about you, Mark?
Um, I've got two things that really shocked me. First, um, I'm going to piggyback onto what Daniel was saying, and to show, to show it in a graphic detail of a kid dying. I mean, it wasn't a quick death either. It was, it wasn't a neck snap or something like that. I mean, you could see him like convulsing. I mean, this was an awful death. And then like that dread feeling that you get when you see, like, there's a montage of all these different cities, and you see kids grabbing these masks off the shelf, and there's vans going around selling them, and you see, tons and tons of kids picking off these masks, and you think, oh crap. I mean, it really puts a pit in your stomach. That was a shocking thing for me, thinking, this is really about to happen, and we're only a few hours away from like this huge mass bloodshed. And I'm going to say the second thing that shocked me in this movie was the music. Because, I mean, you think, how can you top the original Halloween score? And the music in this movie is amazing. It's probably one of the best overall Halloween soundtracks.
Yeah. What do you think, Daniel, about the soundtrack?
Yeah, I think the soundtrack is pretty good. I especially like, the song they made. I know it's just it's basically just London Bridge with new lyrics, but they made it work.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Daniel's right. It's just Thunder Bridge with new lyrics.
I've actually got that song as my ringtone right now.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I could not get a Halloween ringtone, so I got the Seth Roth theme for my
Mhm.
ringtone. One
Oh, nice.
and somebody said, "What the hell is that?" And I'm like, "It's from Final Fantasy VII."
Mhm.
I'm just like,
I
oh,
love it.
oh my god! But what's the? I'm trying to think. What did you guys think of all these henchmen? They're robots. What did you guys think of that?
I thought they were pretty awesome, and like you said, they're pretty strong. I mean, one of them ripped a guy's head off.
Oh, that was great. That was really good.
I like when the one robot goes to kill the nurse with the drill. It's like, oh shit, because you're not expecting that to happen to her. You know what I mean? But it does, and it's one of the it's really it's not so much a middle finger to Daniel Chalice. This is a middle finger to the audience. Like, you were hopeful, wrong.
Right.
And it's so well done. Like at the time it's done in the movie too. It's like, oh shit, this
Yeah.
is bad. This is going real bad.
Yeah, and that particular kill was like a long ways away. That's where, the hospital was, and they drove, out of state to California, so that showed how far they could reach.
Yeah, it's you're what if you were wondering how far they would go too. That's a perfect like example too. Like we've seen because we've seen them kill her dad, like follow her dad. It's okay. Would they really go all the way across, like back to kill someone else? Yep, yep, they would.
Yeah.
And it's just so well done. So I'm gonna let you guys have the floor because I'm out of questions.
Oh, it's okay.
That's fine. Hey, did you guys feel the poster or cover was kind of misleading?
Not really.
Did you say that the poster was kind of misleading?
Yeah.
Um, I don't. I didn't think so, but I kind of wondered when I uh, when I bought the DVD. When I first watched the movie, I was thinking that the kids were witches. I thought they were pictures of witches, and that it was going to be several witches around. Um, but you know, now that I've seen the movie and I knew what to expect, I didn't really get that feeling afterwards. But what about you?
I kind of felt it was misleading, but it's still a pretty cool cover. I do
Yeah,
also like the cover of the 4K release as well.
yes,
Nice.
I agree. I agree. What did you guys think was the scariest part of this movie?
Oh. Hmm.
Oh, I definitely say I know I keep saying this, but it's such a good scene in this movie. But I would say again when the kid died because we saw
Yeah.
these snakes come out of the mask, these bugs come out of it.
Hmm.
For me, how easy it was for Connell Cochran to trick people.
Oh, that's a good one.
Oh,
Be- because that's scary. Because
yeah.
you don't really know this guy, but he's so friendly. Like up front, he's so friendly. And to top it off, Jamie Lee Curtis doing the voice of the town.
Hmm.
It's now 9 o'clock. Like the whole that whole thing with the town and the whole thing that to me is the scariest part of season of the witch before the actual before the murdering of the kid, and because it's just like they've built this little atmosphere right here
Hmm.
and it's scary as shit.
Yeah, it is. Because I mean, I've been in in towns like that where everybody just like nobody really talks and everybody just looks at you, especially when you're driving through, and it's just like, I got to get out of here. So,
It's time to leave.
yeah, exactly. Um, for me, the scariest part, it was a scene where um, Ellie's been taken to the factory, and Dr. Chalice is still at the hotel, but he's trying to get away. And there's a part where he looks out the window, and there's like 4 or 5 of those android guys, and they're standing there in the shadow. And to me, that was just like freaking scary because one movie that terrifies me a lot is the original Terminator.
Yeah.
And to me, that was like 5 Terminators standing right there, staring at you, and they're in shadow. That was that did something to me, you guys. Mhm.
It
So that
really,
that was pretty creepy.
yeah, and it's just he's looking for Ellie and stuff, and he's wanting to leave, and it's just like, yeah, you waited a little too long for that one, buddy.
Yeah.
It's just like you're in trouble now.
Mhm.
But it really, this movie really shakes you to your core too. It's a fun watch,
Mhm.
but it's also chilling too.
Yeah.
Um, well acted, well written, and I think this movie really took a chance, and it does not get enough credit. It really doesn't.
Yeah.
I agree. So, what do you guys think happened to Ellie? I know she most likely died, but you know, he ends up, we end up finding out that the one he rescued was actually a robot.
Yeah. Well, here's a. I'll counter your question with a question. Was Ellie always a robot?
That's actually a good question.
Mhm.
I'm not really sure. Like, that is a good question, but I'm gonna say no because she seemed to act different when we find
Yeah.
out she's a robot.
Yeah. Listen, if a robot, if a robot, if a robot could perform that good in bed, let me tell you, no. But, but no, I agree with you. I don't think she was one, but I think the reason they change her, they they make her into one. They complete. I think what happened, sort of like the equivalent of what happened. Mark, you've seen the movie, in the Ghost in the Shell movie,
Mhm.
where they take the girl and they make her into a cyborg.
Mhm.
Similar to that,
Yeah.
but twice as more terrifying,
Mhm.
because you're serving evil and you have no choice to do it. Your body is not going to be yours anymore,
Yeah.
and it's most likely been her. I would say her original body, her body was destroyed.
Yeah.
That Ellie's body was. What you see is just a duplicate of what Ellie was.
Mhm. I've kind of wondered if, you know, they knew that Ellie was coming and it was kind of a loose end that they were trying to tie up. And if they were creating her when they found out that she was in Santa Mira, and maybe they killed her and left that in its place, knowing that Dr. Chalice was going to find her. But I think that was something that was really cool because I think Connell Cochran knew, and that's why when he saw that Dr. Chalice and Ellie were escaping, you could see him look up at him, and he was, giving like a little applause and smiling, knowing that Ellie was not human Ellie, and that he was going to get the last laugh either way.
Yeah, he knew. You know what I mean? He knew. But it's so trippy, right? Like the fact that here's now Ellie. She's this robot. She's trying to kill him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Crazy,
Yeah.
crazy. Let's see. Is there anything you guys want to add about Halloween 3 Season of the Witch?
Oh, if you don't mind, I want to ask another question. What's
Sure.
your guys' favorite mask? Mine is the skull.
Dude, yeah, that's the exact same question I was thinking. All right. Jewel, what about you?
Well, what was yours, Mark?
Uh, Mine is the jack-o'-lantern.
The Jack. See, I picked the Jack Lantern because that's what the kid wears. So
Uh,
I think one of the most underrated ones is the Witch.
I
But
agree.
but I prefer the Jack o' lantern because that's the one the kids wearing when it goes down.
Yep.
so,
Yep.
so
I
I
actually have that mask, the silver shamrock jack-o'-lantern mask.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Mark, man, you need to. I'm waiting for a picture of Mark to dress up as Connell Cochran. Here's your candy, kids. Here's your mask. Don't forget your mask too. Don't forget that 9 o'clock giveaway.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, were we going to have a giveaway here at the end of this video and a magic pumpkin for
Yeah,
everybody?
yeah. Right at the end. Right at the end.
Yeah. No,
Oh my God. But what a movie, right? Here's one for you guys. Let me see. Director. Oh my God, I'm gonna kick myself. Tommy Lee Wallace. Tommy Lee Wallace directs this movie, but in many ways, you guys secretly think John Carpenter was directing this.
Um, I'm not sure. I'm sure he did help a little bit because he was a producer, right?
Yeah. What do you think, Mark?
I don't know if he was so much in the director's chair, but I watched a few weeks ago an interview with Tommy Lee Wallace. I think that they did it for the Shout Factory Blu-ray release,
Mm.
and he was saying that John was part of the story writing for this movie. So I think he was, he was a big creative part of this movie. And I want to say that I love, I really love this movie because there's not another one like it. There's nothing that you can compare this movie to. I mean, some people compare slashers and, Halloween, and a lot of people try to make clones of Halloween, but this is one that has remained untouched. And I think there's no other movie like this.
Yeah, I agree with
That's
you.
true. There's not.
Mhm.
It really, like I said, it was ahead of its time.
Oh, yeah.
It just really an amazing to watch. And you brought up something. I just watched the remake of Terror Train, and it's just like it just it. Don't get me wrong, like I like watching movies, but it's like it's a slasher. Like I've seen slashers.
Yeah.
Here's Season of the Witch. You don't see too many movies like this,
No.
and you just don't. I mean, it, I, I'll give you one that's sort of close to this.
Mhm.
Night of Dark Shadows. A
Yeah.
bit. Night of Dark Shadows is close to this because it deals with a lot of underlying meanings and super and ghosts and witchcraft,
Uh-huh.
and it's really it's great, great movie.
Yes, it is. And um, a lot of movies like we've talked about aren't aren't as gutsy as this one to go after kids as your primary targets.
Yeah.
And I mean, this movie. I mean, I guess you could say, in a way, it almost at the beginning of it kind of feels like a Tim Burton movie where it's a little bit of horror and it's got some quirkiness, like with a Happy Happy Halloween song. Um, it kind of sounds like something that could be in Nightmare Before Christmas. But this turns dark quick. Once they get to Santa Mira and the town, it completely changes. And then it goes past a point of no return when they kill little Buddy and you see all those kids taking the masks, and you know I mean, this is a dark movie.
Yeah, and it does. That's the thing too. It doesn't pull its punches,
No.
and
No.
that's the beautiful part about it too. I've talked about. I don't want chicken shit writing. Go all the way. That's what this movie does.
Mhm.
It does not. It doesn't hedge its bets. It doesn't play chicken shit. It goes all the way with what it's doing,
Yeah.
and that's why I think a lot of people will like it.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'd say that's a pretty good reason to like him.
You know?
Yeah. And I love when Connell Cochran, I mean, it's only for a split second, but when um, they've got the family in the testing room and they're doing that to little Buddy, you see him just laughing right before it happens, and he's just like getting a big chuckle out of this. And he has such great facial expressions, um, like when he's talking to him after the misfire in the hotel, and he just looks so kind and so friendly and everything. He's got a very disarming voice. But then, like, at a moment's notice, he can turn towards the camera and his face will change into something very, very creepy. He's got a good creep factor in his facial expressions.
Oh yeah, he does.
Hmm.
Though he does not play a villain in the movie, check him out in RoboCop.
Yeah. Mm.
Actually, the police captain from Beverly Hills Cop, plays the villain.
Yep.
like, I'm like, wait a minute, what?
Yep.
What the hell? Oh my god! It's really, yeah. Daniel Haley, what a great actor. I
Yeah.
mean, absolutely top notch.
Mhm.
him and God, it just the fact that they literally cast this movie perfectly, and that's rare. That's a rare thing to say.
Yeah.
There are movies you could go, I don't know about that guy, but this movie, no, you can't say it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh,
that's
did you? Okay.
no, go ahead. I was done.
Oh, it's okay. Did you guys notice that the person that announced the curfew and the phone operator was Jamie Lee Curtis?
Yep.
Yep. she. It's this time. Oh, could you imagine the plot twist in Season of the Witch is that Jamie Lee Curtis's character is really in charge of it all? Oh shit!
Nope.
I saw someone on Facebook say that they asked her if it was really her, and or they knew someone did. I don't remember, but they said that she said she doesn't know, but it's very clearly her.
Oh yeah, it is. I think that's just her playing around. You know what I mean? Like her playing coy.
Oh yeah, when
like,
Yeah.
like there are actors like when I'll give you one. Donald Sutherland for years would not own the fact that he was in Buffy the Vampire Slayer when he clearly is in Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yep.
that's pretty interesting.
like he was ashamed he did the movie, and it was like, dude, you did the movie. Get over it.
Yeah.
It's like
It was a job. So yeah.
yeah, God damn it, you got paid for
Right. Well, we hope you did.
right. Oh my god. Well, here's the thing. It's like a who's who of it. Who's in that movie? Christy Swanson, Luke Perry. Oh my god, like Jesus. And like the thing, like at the time, Luke Perry is like at the height of 90210 at that point.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's like somebody goes, "That's Dylan." I'm like, "Don't do that to him.
Yeah.
Don't do that."
Oh, there's an
Right.
interesting fact about Luke Perry. I don't know if you know. Jungle Boy in AEW.
I've heard the name.
Oh, that's actually his son. Yeah, his son's a pro wrestler.
Cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, I thought that was cool too. I'm kind of surprised. I was kind of surprised to find that out.
Cool.
Awesome.
That's awesome. I did not know that, Daniel. That is
Sweet.
really, really cool. Is there anything you guys want to add before we go?
I can't think of anything other than just saying, watch this movie. Don't be afraid to take a risk and watch it.
Oh yeah, there is one thing I want to say. Some people say this shouldn't be called Halloween. I don't agree. However, I do feel this should have been called Halloween Season of the Witch instead of Halloween 3 because 3 kind of implies continuity.
I'm sort of wondering. I'm going to play devil's advocate with that. Halloween 3, right? Season of the Witch. There are 3 masks, specific masks that the kids wear. I think that's why the reason for the 3.
Oh, I never thought about that.
Like, I'm not sure. I don't. Again, if I'm wrong, if whoever watches this, if I'm wrong, please correct me. But I think that's why. I don't think they're calling it Halloween 3 just because of the continuity fact. I think they're saying Halloween 3 season, which there are 3 separate masks the kids wear.
Oh.
I think that's why they're because the masks are an emphasis throughout the movie. So that's why
That's true.
Again, in my opinion, I'm not sure. So
That is a good point. That is a very good point.
I literally just thought of that today when I was watching it. Today I'm thinking, I kept looking at the mask and I kept thinking about the title. And I'm just like, Halloween 3 masks. There are 3 distinct masks because we always see the masks throughout the movie. Because think about it, Daniel Chalice's kids buy the mask for God's
Yep. Yep.
Look,
Right.
the girl who played Annie Brackett in the original, she plays his wife.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, why do you think they got divorced?
I mean, it's Daniel Chalice. I mean, listen, there are. I did a Quentin Collins character retrospective, and I jokingly said, the man that inspired Charlie Sheen's lifestyle choices. Well, Quentin Collins inspired a lot of people's lifestyle choices, and probably Daniel Chalice's too.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, I
yeah,
think it's because of his drinking problem, personally.
Yeah, yeah,
yeah. I would say it's the drinking problem, and word. I mean, that looked like a small town, so I
yeah.
think we got around about those 20 nurses you were talking about earlier.
They all knew where to find him.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Dr. Chalice, he's at the bar. We've been to that bar with him.
Oh,
Um, yeah, but yeah, you guys are right. It's he drinking. He slept around. I mean, come on, you know.
yeah.
He
And he was a terrible father. I'm sorry, but he was.
right. I mean, this. He's literally. I mean, he's sleeping at the office. He's sleeping at the hospital. That's all you need to know.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, that's true.
yeah.
Actually, the drink thing just made me think of something else. There was a curfew, but the bar is open. Do you think that's just a continuity error, or do you think there was a reason behind that?
Well, here's the thing. Bars always just listen. If you go to any local like bar, okay, like look, they do not close until like 2 a.m.
Oh, yeah, I could see that.
Like there now there's one bar around here. You go in it, and there used to be two, but 2 a.m. That's when they kick you out.
Yeah.
That's last call. Last call is like 2:30. Okay. Now I don't drink, but I know people who do. I used to joke about this. I said, this is the thing about something. You go to a bar to drink. I said, you can go to the distributor, take your beer home. He goes, yeah, but I can't play darts at my house there, boy.
Right. True.
All right, you got me there. You got me.
Yeah.
Oh,
Run darts. Oh dear. That's not good.
well, here's the thing. Like, you've seen the guys in American Werewolf in London. I don't miss that board. That's my friend. I don't miss the board, and he doesn't. He does not miss the board.
True. So, but yeah, I am absolutely in love with this movie. I think it's great. I'm so glad that it's finally earned the respect that it deserves. I love it. I wouldn't change a thing on it.
No, I wouldn't either.
Yeah, me neither.
It's really, guys, if you have never seen Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, yes, go out of your way to watch this movie. And if you feel like buying a mask, remember the giveaways at 9. Um,
Right.
oh, Jesus. I think that's something, though, too. There, again, I don't mind a kid being killed off in this movie. It's fiction. But I
Right.
think, though, too, do I see, again, I saw my mom's point of it. But I also look at it and go, okay, it's fiction though. And she
Yeah.
goes, and she said something. She goes, you're right. She goes, but as a parent, I can't. I'm not saying they're wrong for doing it. I just can't enjoy it because of it. And I understood her side of it, but I do think that I don't look at it that way. It's just, hey, it's a movie. They wrote that in. There are other movies where kids get killed. Look, my favorite Western, Once Upon a Time in West. Guess what happens? A kid gets shot in the chest.
Yeah.
So, the real villainy is Henry Fonda does it. But yeah, it's what an amazing movie. I give this a straight 10, guys. What do you guys give Halloween 3 Season of the Witch?
I'd say 8 out of 10.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with 10. I think it's wonderful.
It is. It's a wonderful, wonderful movie. Guys, when do you guys want to come back and let's discuss Halloween Resurrection?
Sounds good to me.
That sounds good to me too.
Yeah.
You guys want to do? Let's see, what's today? Tuesday. What? Let me stop recording. Now I'll ask questions. Hold on.
Okay.
Oh, okay.